No nose, just two little nostrils, an inch slit for a mouth, two little orifices for ears, no hair, and the head was shaped like an inverted egg.
Our disagreement is not with our witnesses, but rather with the Air Force. They say they were wooden crash dummies 6 years removed, and our witnesses say that they were non-human beings recovered.
Besides the question of whether people saw crash test dummies or aliens, there is another issue. Why is the Air Force spending more money and time to discredit claims about alien bodies?
One reason that people, I think, want to believe the Roswell incident is it's a conspiracy theory. Once a conspiracy theory takes off, it fuels itself, and any attempt to rebut it becomes part of the conspiracy, adding to the flames. So I think that's a big part of it. People love a yarn, and it's a sort of a attractive story.
Here comes the most believable alien.
And Roswell is the mecca of the UFO movement.
There is no question that the Air Force has been helpful in fueling conspiracy theorists' fires. But does this lead us closer to understanding what really happened? Unfortunately, no. But maybe, just maybe, that is the point. What if all this arguing about discs, balloons, mogul, tape, symbols, bodies and crash test dummies was very much intentional? Keep the public distracted with aliens, and the truth is easier to hide. Let's go back to the very beginning. Remember where we started. It is 2 years after World War II. The big enemy of the US was not aliens, but Nazis. Maybe the people of Roswell did see a flying disc. What if it wasn't from another planet? What if it was a top-secret aircraft of Nazi design?
One of the rumours that's floated around for many, many years is the fact that the Nazis were working to try and develop flying saucer-type vehicles. Now, a lot of these rumours and stories have been just dismissed as hoaxes and friend-of-a-friend tales and legends, and rightly so in many cases. But there is this small core body of evidence to suggest that the Nazis were working to perfect circular-shaped aircraft at this particular time. FBI records talk about interviews they conducted with German prisoners of war and German fighter pilots who'd actually seen circular-shaped aircraft test flown at airfields in Nazi Germany during the Second World War.
Now, what does this have to do with Roswell? The very same scientists who may have been test flying these saucer-shaped craft were secretly brought over to America under the non-threatening codename Project Paperclip.
Project Paperclip was a project begun in the closing stages of the Second World War to bring over Nazi scientists to really help the US war effort. Obviously, at the close of the Second World War, it became clear that the Russians were going to be the next big enemy. And with Nazi Germany defeated, the plan was to grab as many Nazi scientists as possible before the Soviets got their hands on them.
And guess where they were brought? Southeastern New Mexico. Was the crash at Roswell really a Nazi flying saucer? What if what crashed at Roswell wasn't a weather balloon, as the US military claims? Or even a UFO, as ufologists claim? What if it was a Nazi spaceship? Project Paperclip was a classified covert program that brought Nazi scientists to the New Mexican desert.
One of the chief reasons why Project Paperclip was classified and considered controversial was because quite a few of the scientists brought over weren't just German scientists who the Nazis had ordered to work for them. They actually were ardent Nazis themselves. And of course, you know, the idea of employing Nazi Germany's scientific elite at the end of the Second World War was something that, you know, many people would see as not just controversial, but a complete no-go.
What if the government has been using the idea of UFOs all along to cover up its own activities? Speaking of which, what about the little green men? Paperclip might be a plausible explanation for the disc, but what about its 4-foot-tall pilots?
What we have at Roswell was this huge field of debris that was found, and also reports of alien bodies in broadly the same location. Possibly this was a V-2 rocket launch, which were taking place at the time, brought over from Nazi Germany, with a crew of monkeys on board that crashed off range, and because this was the height of the Cold War and people didn't want the Russians to find out, that a flying disc story was put in place to hide this monkey experiment, if you like. The Air Force itself has denied that particular theory, but it is a fact that in the years that followed Roswell, experiments of this nature using monkeys on board V-2 type rockets were indeed launched.
You may or may not be surprised to know that the hardcore ufologists aren't fans of this theory either.
There wasn't anything conventional there. No wire, no vacuum tubes, no rivets, no screws, no bolts, anything like that. If it was German technology, how did they use extraterrestrial components?
Let's face it, none of us, not even the ufologists, were there. Since 1947, people have searched for the truth of what happened in Roswell. But will the truth ever come out?
How could it be classified?
The whole political scene has become nothing but professional wrestling.
Just a dumb old balloon which was declassified.
In one way, it doesn't even matter if aliens landed or not. Roswell is thriving, and nothing is going to stop the believers from believing.
We have always maintained that we are merely following the facts wherever the evidence leads us.
Strange wreckage.
I'm not going to...
We are asked oftentimes, where did they come from? Why were they here? And how could a spaceship that apparently traveled between the galaxies or between solar systems, how could it possibly crash? My easy answer to that is, I don't know, but it did.
I can't think of a more exciting subject, and what really gets me going is the response of the public. Yes, I have my critics within ufology, but if you learn something new, you have a responsibility to talk about it. That's what I'm doing, talking about it.
I think the only thing that would convince the Stanton Friedmans and the UFO true believers of the world is if the aliens came down, landed on the White House lawn, came out, and after they said Klaatu Marada Nikto, they said, guys, we didn't do Roswell.
If you believe that the Roswell legend is a load of rubbish, then you also have to believe that all those people were terribly mistaken or lying. Every single one of them. And that's very hard to do. But in the end, it's up to you.